Hello viewers, welcome to Big Man Business YouTube channel. Today, we're going to be talking about the top import and export commodities of South Africa. Country overview. South Africa is located on the southern tip of the African continent bordering both the Indian and Atlantic Ocean. South Africa surrounds Lesotho and it shares borders with Botswana, Namibia and Zimbabwe to the north, and Mozambique and Eswatini, which was formerly Swaziland, to the east. South Africa attained majority rule on April 27, 1994 after minority rule that followed the amalgamation of four British colonies, Cape Colony, Natal, Transvaal, and Orange Free State, and formed the Union of South Africa on May 31, 1910. It is a parliamentary republic with the president sitting as the head of state and government. Its administrative capital is Pretoria, the legislative capital is Cape Town, and judicial capital is Bloemfontein. It has an administrative structure divided into 9 provinces. It runs a unicameral legislative system of government. South Africa's main ethnic groups consist of Black African, people of European ancestry, colored multiracial ethnic group, and Indian or Asian ethnic group. There are 11 official languages, including the English language, which is the main language of business. Christianity is the major religion. It has a mixed legal system of civil law influenced by the Roman Dutch model, English common law, and customary law. It has an area size of 1.22 million square kilometers. South Africa is often referred to as the Rainbow Nation to describe the country's multicultural diversity. South Africa has a highly developed economy and advanced infrastructure. It is the second biggest economy in Africa after Nigeria. If you're new to the Big Man Business YouTube channel, please subscribe and turn on the notification bell to receive updates on new business expert videos. For more international business news and updates, please visit www.bigmanbusiness.com. South Africa has an estimated population of 56.43 million, comprising mostly of middle-aged population. Those in the age bracket of 25 to 64 years make up about 49.2% of the population, younger age group less than 25 years make up about 44.7% of the population, and those above 65 years age group makes up about 6.1% of the population. The average population density is estimated at 49 inhabitants per kilometer square. In terms of human development indicators, it has a life expectancy of 66.2 years for women and 63.4 years for men. It achieved universal primary education with a 98.54% primary enrollment rate in 2018 and an overall literacy level of 87.0% as at 2017. South Africa is rich in natural resources and is the world's biggest producer of gold, platinum, chrome, and manganese. It is the second largest palladium producer and the fourth largest producer of diamonds in the world. It produces 80% of the world's platinum and has 60% of the world's coal reserves. South Africa has diverse manufacturing industries and is a world leader in several specialized sectors, including railway rolling stock, synthetic fuels, mining equipment, and machinery. Agriculture contributes about 1.9% of the country's GDP and employs 5% of the workforce, unlike other African countries where agriculture dominates the economy. South Africa's agricultural sector is highly diversified, market-oriented, and it is the world's 6th largest producer of wine. It has an advanced services sector, the particular financial and healthy banking system. The service sector employs about 72% of the workforce and contributes 61% of the country's GDP. South Africa is a popular tourist destination, and a substantial amount of revenue comes from tourism. The economy has grown at a decelerated rate in recent years as weak public accounts, state-owned enterprises, persistent labor market rigidities, and politicization of economic decision-making continue to constrain growth. Real GDP grew at an estimated 0.2% in 2019, down from 1.4% in 2018. It managed to achieve a modest compound GDP growth of 1.1% in the past 5 years. Its currency is South African Rand, which is free-floating currency. Main export includes diamonds, gold, platinum, machinery, and equipment, other metals and minerals, etc. Major imports include petroleum products, foodstuff, machinery and equipment, chemical, etc. South Africa has a vibrant financial sector that promotes economic diversification and a well-functioning capital market. South Africa offers a combination of developed first-world economic infrastructure and favorable market access to global markets and the rest of Africa's market. With the commencement of the African Continental Free Trade Area, which creates a single continental market for goods and services in Africa, South Africa is set to be the main beneficiary given its advanced industrial base as new export markets are created for its goods. Key priority sectors that are being promoted by the country for investment according to the recently launched South African Economic Reconstruction and Recovery Plan include aggressive infrastructure investment, energy sufficiency, tourism sector growth, and development of a green economy. Other sectors with investment opportunities include the manufacturing sector, mining sector which includes gold, platinum, manganese, and chromite, service sector with business process outsourcing, film, TV and documentaries, aquaculture, agro-processing, forestry, green industries which include clean energy, waste economy, and green transport, advanced manufacturing like fuel cells, pharmaceutical, aerospace and defense, medical devices, chemicals and electronics, etc. South Africa's top 10 exports. The African continent's southernmost country, the Republic of South Africa shipped $86.1 billion worth of goods around the globe in 2020. That dollar amount reflects a 12.4% gain since 2016 but a minus 4.8% decline from 2019 to 2020. Based on the average exchange rate for 2020, the South African rand depreciated by minus 11.9% against the US dollar since 2016 and declined by minus 13.9% from 2019 to 2020. South Africa's weaker local currency makes its exports paid for in stronger US dollars relatively less expensive for international buyers. South Africa's biggest export products by value in 2020 were platinum, gold, iron, cars, and coal. In aggregate, those major exports accounted for 37.5% of overall export sales from South Africa. That percentage suggests a relatively diversified range of exported goods. South Africa places number 1 for exporting platinum, ranks among world-leading export nations for iron, and is a major competitor selling coal on international markets. The latest available country-specific data shows that 60.8% of products exported from South Africa were bought by importers in China with 11.4% of the global total, the United States with 8.3%, Germany with 8.2%, the United Kingdom with 4.9%, Japan with 4.4%, the Netherlands with 3.8%, Botswana with 3.8%, India with 3.8%, Mozambique with 3.6%, Namibia with 3.1%, Belgium with 2.8%, and Zimbabwe with 2.6%. From a continental perspective, about 33.8% of South African exports by value were delivered to importers in Asia while 28.6% were sold to European countries. South Africa shipped another 25.2% worth of its goods to fellow African nations. Smaller percentages arrived in North America with 9.7%, Oceania with 1.1% led by Australia, and Latin America 0.9% excluding Mexico but including the Caribbean. Given South Africa's population of 59.7 million people, its total $86.1 billion in 2020 exports translates to roughly $1,450 for every resident in the relatively wealthy African nation. The following export product groups represent the highest dollar value in South African global shipments during 2020. Also shown is the percentage share each export category represents in terms of overall exports from South Africa. Gems, precious metals, $20 billion or 23.3% of total exports. Ores, slag, ash, $12.8 billion or 14.9%. Vehicles, $8.5 billion or 9.8%. Mineral fuels including oil, $6.9 billion or 8%. Machinery including computers, $5 billion or 5.8%. Iron, steel, $4 billion or 4.6%. Fruits, nuts, $3.8 billion or 4.4%. Aluminum, $1.6 billion or 1.9%. Electrical machinery, equipment, $1.5 billion or 1.8%. Other chemical goods, $1.5 billion or 1.8%. South Africa's top 10 exports accounted for over three-quarters or 76.2% of the overall value of its global shipments. Gems and precious metals was the fastest grower among the top 10 export categories, up by 30.4% year-over-year since 2019, led by greater international sales of platinum and gold. In second place for improving export sales was miscellaneous chemical goods, which were up by 29.3%. South Africa's shipments of fruits and nuts posted the third fastest gain in value, up by 9.8% year-over-year. The leading decliner among South Africa's top 10 export categories were its exported vehicles via a -26.2% drop. These 100 exported goods were worth a subtotal of $70.8 billion or 82.2% by value for all products exported from South Africa during 2020. In macroeconomic terms, South Africa's total exported goods represent 12.1% of its overall gross domestic product for 2020, which stood at $710.8 billion in purchasing power parity. That 12.1% for exports to overall GDP per PPP in 2020 compares to 11.2% 1 year earlier, seeming to indicate an increasing reliance on products sold on international markets for South Africa's total economic performance. Another key indicator of a country's economic performance is its unemployment rate. South Africa's unemployment rate was 30.8% in September 2020, up from an average 27.855% in 2020 according to the International Monetary Fund. South Africa's top 10 imports. The Republic of South Africa imported $69 billion worth of goods from around the globe in 2020. That dollar value reflects a -8.2% decrease over the 5-year period starting in 2016 and a 21.8% decline from 2019 to 2020. Based on the average exchange rate for 2020, the South African rand depreciated by -11.9% against the US dollar since 2016 and declined by -13.9% from 2019 to 2020. South Africa's weaker local currency makes its imports paid for in stronger US dollars relatively more expensive when converted starting from the South African rand. From a continental perspective, 46.4% of South Africa's total imports by value in 2020 were purchased from Asian countries. European trade partners supplied 31% of imports bought by South Africa, while about 10.8% worth originated from fellow African nations. North American exporters accounted for 7.5% of South Africa's imports, with 2.5% coming from Latin America excluding Mexico plus the Caribbean and 1.3% shipped from Oceania led by Australia. Given South Africa's population of 59.7 million people, its total $69 billion in 2020 imports translates to roughly $1,200 in yearly product demand from every person in the resources-rich South African country. The following product groups represent the highest dollar value in South Africa's import purchases during 2020. Also shown is the percentage share each product category represents in terms of overall imports into South Africa. Mineral fuels including oil, $9.6 billion accounting for 14% of total imports. Machinery including computers, $9.1 billion accounting for 13.1%. Electrical machinery, equipment, $7.1 billion accounting for 10.3%. Vehicles, $4.4 billion which is 6.4% in total imports. Pharmaceuticals, $2.4 billion accounting for 3.5%. Plastics, plastic articles, $2 billion accounting for 3%. Optical, technical, medical apparatus, $1.9 billion which is 2.8%. Other chemical goods, $1.7 billion accounting for 2.4% in total national imports. Organic chemicals, $1.3 billion which is 1.8%. Inorganic chemicals, $1.2 billion which is 1.7% of South Africa's total import. South Africa's top 10 imports accounted for almost 3/5 or 58.9% of the overall value of its product purchases from other countries. The sole gain from 2019 to 2020 belongs to miscellaneous chemicals thanks to its 4.5% increase. Leading the decliners among South Africa's top 10 product categories were imported vehicles via a -37.1% drop. Other major declines were 34.7% for mineral fuels including oil, -19.2% for machinery including computers, and -18.3% for plastic materials and items made from plastic. Thanks for watching this video. We are open to suggestions. Kindly drop your comments in the comment box and don't forget to subscribe to the Big Man Business YouTube channel. See you in the next video.